Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Self-love through freedom and connection. So feel free to connect to the brave never fall on these social media platforms. If you find anything of value in this following podcast, hit that like button, subscribe and share, and support the brave and bold tribe growing one purposeful soul at a time. How are you feeling? Take a moment to do a self-check-in for yourself. How are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling spiritually? Are you feeling balanced? Are you still journeying on an intentional, purposeful path? How are you feeling? Balancing yourself is a healthy daily practice that will reliably keep you in harmony with your entire mind, body, heart, and soul. Clear your mind. Take a moment of silence for yourself right now in the moment. You are here now. How are you feeling? The most valuable thing you could ever own is your purposeful soul. At an early age, we all came out and drew our first breath. From that point on, everything that happens in your life has an effect on what you will ultimately be in the future. It has a very huge effect on when you find out your purpose, but it doesn't have an effect on how you figure out your purpose. At an early age, there are people that figure out their purpose before the age of 10. Then you have people who figure out their purpose at the age of 50, 60 years old. Either way, the goal is to figure out why you are here and to do the thing that you love to do the things that you love to do, to be around the people that bring you the most joy, peace, and purpose. But we get so easily distracted by entertainment, gossip, food, work. And if we put all of that time and energy that we put into those things that don't really have any meaning in our life other than the value we put on it, and we apply that to the thing that has all the value in the world, which is yourself, suddenly you're going to find you're on the right path of figuring out that purpose, because the purpose is in yourself. And if you don't focus on it, how will you ever retrieve and unlock the mysteries of your purpose? If life gave us our purpose on a silver platter, it wouldn't taste nearly as sweet as if you went out and dug and found it yourself. So enjoy the journey of figuring out your purpose. That's what we were meant to be. That's what we were meant to do. It's a process of enlightenment and empowerment. And you deserve it just like any other person who has ever taken any breath in this world. Humans are adapted to survive and thrive. The better prepared we are to take on the challenges of each day, the better prepared we are to get better each day, to enhance relationships, grow our minds, embrace the world for what it is, not for what it should be in your eyes. Should. That is a term that bleeds fear, uncertainty, procrastination, doubt, ultimately a lack of trust. Often, the things we acquire in life started off with a quote-unquote should. Should I buy this? Should I date her? Should I marry him? Should I take the job? Should I buy the house? Should I adopt the dog? Should I lease the car? Should I? Well, should you? Maybe a better way to ask those questions are with simply making statements. I don't need this. I don't need that. I do need this. I do need that. It brings me joy. This doesn't bring me joy. I'm more at peace with this person in my life. I'm not myself with this person in my life. This car fits my financial budget. This house is an investment I can pass on to loved ones when I'm gone. We should have air to breathe to live, water to drink, food to eat. Those are essential, true essential things necessary for life to survive. Everything else will aid you in thriving in peace, joy, and purpose. You are your most valuable possession. Treat it that way. A Ronin's Way of Balanced Energy, Episode 3, Possessions Do Not Define You. Look around you. Wherever you're at. If you're outdoors, indoors, at work, at a party, in school, in church, wherever you are at most of the time. And picture that in your mind. You can look at the things that are around you, but also go into your mind and look at the things that you see most often each day. And then ask yourself, what are the things that are necessary for you to survive? And what are the things necessary for you to thrive? The fact that you could wake up every single day and draw a breath and actually get up, move your arms and legs if you're still lucky enough to do that, because there are so many people in this world who are not capable of doing that, who would love to do that. Are you able to smile? Are you able to be happy? And are you able to proceed forward and do the things throughout the day that you want to do on your time? Even if it's going to work. If you have a 9 to 5, if you love to do that, that's bringing meaningful purpose to your life because it's something that you enjoy doing. It's bringing you a sense of peace. May not be the most easiest job in the world, but you take pride in it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking pride in your possessions. The disconnect comes when possessions start to own you. When your possessions start to define you. When people look at you and the first thing they think it is your job, not you. They look at you and the first thing they think is your spouse or your partner or your boyfriend or girlfriend or your best friend. But they don't see you. That's when it becomes a problem. When people look at you and they see a place and not a person. They see some article of clothing that you're so proud of, not you. They see your car and not you. You're defined by what you have. And when you don't have those things, all of a sudden, not only do you feel like you have to get back to what you had to have everybody look at you that way, but you're not taking the time to figure out why no one was looking at you the entire time and they were only looking at what you have or what you can give to them. As human beings, we all want certain possessions. We all have things that when we have them near us, in our homes, in our cars, when they are physically attached to us, we take pride in that. Everybody has that thing, that hobby, that collection, that whatever it is that they gravitate towards, that is a possession, something they didn't create on their own, something they had to go buy or create, not something that you just find out in nature, which holds a different meaning. But we're talking about things that you may not be able to keep forever. Things that could go away. And if that's the case, how attached do you want to be towards something that if it's taken away from you, you are no longer considered to be who you were. And not only that, you don't feel like you're the same person when that item, that place, and that thing or that person is gone. The path of self-discovery helps you be able to deal with the fact that you don't actually need those things. You're just fortunate enough to have them. You're fortunate enough to have the money, the time, the resources, the family members, the friends, to be able to keep those things. But they don't define you. What defines you, when people look at you, what defines you should be your values, what you stand upon, who you are. That is what, if you're going to say the word should, which is a word that I've, over the past few weeks, I have really not liked that word because I find that I have used that word way too much. Should. If you think about that word, that is not always a great word. That just screams all types of negative things. It can be put towards a positive thing. You know, I should go help this person. You see what's wrong with that sentence right there? Why don't you go help them? And if you can't, why can't you put things into place for someone else to be able to help this person? We don't always have to be the answer. Sometimes we can just be the cord. We can be something that ties this person to another individual or place or thing that can help someone. That's just an example of should. We always have things we can do. So if you can't do that, then you can do something else. And I've used the word should way too much. It's a word that I've found that has disrupted me in a way because it becomes a bad pattern. Well, I can't do that. I should do this. And then you don't end up doing it anyway because should is not an action. It's not something that you can really, you don't go into a meeting with a bunch of successful people and say, hey, I should do this, this, and this. They're going to look at you like you're nuts. They're going to say, you have no action in you, buddy. What is your plan? Should is not a plan. And I found that applies to possessions. When you go inside of a mall or a department store, any place where you have to spend money, we always look at that. I should get that. If you have to ask yourself that, instead of just saying, I need that. I'm getting it. Otherwise, move on. And that is something I've been working on. And it's actually a very, very powerful thing to be able to get your mind to not even get to the point where you're saying, I should need it. You only focus on what you need. And there are a lot of people out there who have this down to a science. And I really admire those people who can just walk inside every store, list or no list, get what they need and walk out. And they could have bought nearly 20 other things that most people would put on their list, not even on the list. They don't need it. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to go in any store anymore with a list. I'm going to walk in there. I know what I need. I'm going to walk to the things that I know I need, and then I'm checking out. And I've been practicing that for probably the past few months, and it's really, really been helpful for me. It really has. It's freed up time, space in my mind, it's added more money in my account because I'm not overspending. I'm not getting stuff that's going to go to waste. And like I said, people have this down to a science, and it's when you're leveling up, you got to get all those levels leveled up. And there's little things when you're moving along your path and your purpose, there are little things here and there that you can just add on real quick that make all the difference. And this was one of them. Not saying should. And if I can't do it, if somebody says, hey, can you do this? I don't say to myself, I should have told them no. Just say no. You see, when you apply that word should to anything, you realize that it's indecisiveness. It comes off as doubt, like you're not trusting yourself. And trust has been a big, big thing I've been working on. And the should aspect of things doesn't apply to me anymore. And it's a powerful thing. Now, we have to use the word should, just like I don't like the word perfect, but I end up using it a lot. It's not one of those words you can just readily get rid of and act like it's not part of your vocabulary. We say should all the time. It's just what we do. But it's not so much about the word. It's about the action behind it, or the inaction behind it. Even if you think it and not say it, it basically is the same thing. If you're laying in bed and you know you should get up and you're not, you're basically saying I should get up. If you're debating it in your mind, you're saying the same thing. It's more about the action and the intent. And what's keeping you in that bed, which is, by the way, what? A possession that's making you comfortable. I love my bed just like anything else. But me and that bed have a love-hate relationship. Sometimes I hate that bed because it has a way of saying, hey, get over here. Just lay down. You'll be okay. Don't worry about what you should do. You should be laying here with me. And that's not good. That's not good at all. And that's one of those things that I had to break when I had my first awakening. Actually, I just recently had a weird second awakening, which is kind of weird. I don't know if it's a second awakening or not, but I've come into some newfound clarity and feelings in my mind, my body, heart, and my soul. And one of the things I remember with waking up and wanting to improve myself was that I had to detach myself from couches, chairs, beds, anything that was comfortable that will keep me there in a prolonged state with inactivity. And that's finding out who you are as a person and what you need to do as a person to improve yourself in your purpose. And my purpose, it was improving the physical body and wanting to get up and be more active, even though I already believed that I was, because I was working out all the time. I was quote unquote active, but my body needed more. It needed much, much more than what I was giving it. And once I did that, it responded and everything started to change, because I no longer saw my bed as something that I needed in my life, or my couch that I needed in my life, my favorite chair that I needed in my life. What I needed in my life was to listen to what I am, who I am, and start looking at things like values. Start assessing things like boundaries and limitations that other people can have influencing me and trying to get me to come out of my comfortable. If you want to be comfortable in your own shell of values and self-discipline, self-control, and self-respect and awareness of yourself and self-love of yourself. If you're going to shield yourself and be comfortable in that. And once I figured that out, things started to change. And that moment, I realized one of my biggest problems is that I just had too many positive thoughts going towards negative things as far as possessions go. I collected too many things. I had too many hobbies. I had too many businesses going on. I had too many friends. I had too many obligations. I had too many family members. I had too many things that I wanted to do each and every day as far as my fitness, and just there wasn't enough time or money or energy or that I could put into all those things. It just wasn't. One of the first things I had to cut out was sleeping as much, sitting around as much. One of the second things I had to cut out was no more television. I love my movies. I kept it with movies. Let's just watch your movies. A couple hours a day is fine. But that even got cut down to almost a couple hours a week when I was watching movies around the clock. And even time spent on my phone reduced. Video games, love to play them all the time. I still play. I'm still a gamer. Reduced considerably. And I didn't even have to force myself to do that. Once you start getting into your real purpose, you realize all of that stuff didn't matter. You just didn't know it at the time. And that's the healthy part of it, is that you will start seeing immediately once you start trying to figure yourself out and start finding out what your values are and start finding out what you stand on and start overcoming challenges that you're afraid of and overcoming fears. You'll start to realize you don't need as many things in this world to make you happy as you once thought you did. You don't need as many people in this world to complete you as you once thought you did. That job that you thought you loved so much suddenly becomes boring and obsolete because you want to move towards something that's a little more challenging and in your stratosphere of alignment with yourself. And that's what it's all about, alignment. And I know I can look back on it and tell you that I was not aligned with anything, most of the things that were in my life before I decided to start working on myself and figuring out who I was. And it is a true statement. You get aligned with yourself, you will start aligning with everything else in this world and every other person and everything. That effort and energy and happiness that you have about all those things, and when you have those possessions, if that can be carried over into your purpose, into you, think about how powerful that is. All the things and the people and the places and things that make you smile and make you happy. Think about what that would feel like if that was all just coming from you first. And that all that other stuff that you don't have to necessarily say, I'm never doing that again. You're just saying, I need to focus most of my time and my energy on what's important. And that's me. That's me. And if I can find happiness in me standing and doing nothing and just thinking in my own brain and creating and appreciating what I have in my own mind, if I can find happiness just standing there doing nothing, just in my own mind, in my own heart, in my body, in my soul, everything else is just a added layer of happiness. But you have to know who you are. And you have to accept the fact that you're not perfect as well. Because that's another element that comes into it, is that we're not perfect. So we try to find things that will complete us and fill in the gaps of the areas that we don't feel so confident in. Fill in the gaps in areas we don't feel so strong in. Fill in the gaps in areas that we feel afraid in. And fill in the gaps in areas where we're lacking love and appreciation from others. We fill it with things. We put possessions. Things that don't matter. And you owe it to yourself to be your true self. And we get caught up in other people's alignments with the stuff that they really are aligned with. There's other people out there, they're aligned with their entertainment and their games, and their lifestyles are perfect to them, quote unquote. When we hang out with these people so much, we think, you know what, I really vibe with this person. I might be aligned with these things too. But you just find yourself in a place of unhappiness all the time because you're not really aligned with that person. They're aligned with what they want, and you're just standing or sitting next to them, soaking in all their energy, and your energy has been suppressed by other people's profound alignment with the things that they're currently involved with. And a lot of times it's possessions. They get a car, you want a car. They get a house, you get a house. They're in a relationship, they're getting married, you're in a relationship, want to get married. They get a new dog, you want to get a new cat. It's just, it's this weird thing that human beings do. We see other things and we say, I wish I had that. I should go get that car. I wish I had that. I should go get that house. I should figure out how to get that house. Instead of just thinking, hey, What do I really want for myself? If that house or that car or this person didn't exist, would I be making the same decision about what I quote unquote want in my life? Odds are you wouldn't. You'd come up with some kind of a beautiful version of a dream that you can bring into reality, and it will fit you so much more perfectly than if you're modeling it after a blueprint that someone else made with their measurements and their alignments. Your blueprint is your measurement and your alignments. Now, you two can kind of talk and you can blend the blueprints and kind of make a hybrid. And that's really important in relationships, even in business relationships, anything in your life when you're connected with people. There's nothing wrong with comparing and contrasting blueprints. As long as each person is owning their blueprint, at any time they can say, it's not working, roll it up and walk away with your measurements and your alignments still intact. People don't own you. Things don't own you. Places don't own you. Your job doesn't own you. Your car, your bank account, none of that shit owns you. What owns you is your soul. You are the most important, most valuable thing in your life that you could ever own. You're your own most prized possession. And we just don't fully understand the capability of ourselves. And it takes a lifetime to do that. And even at a lifetime, there's still more to be getting out of us. When you think of it that way, when you put your mind in what can I do instead of what can I get, things start to change for you. Because you can do pretty much whatever you want to do. But you can't always get whatever you want to get. There's a lot of outside forces that will strike up against you with resistance. And they'll battle you and be defensive. There's people out there who are not going to like a version of you that you become. There are people out there who are not going to like what you acquired. They're not going to like your job. They're not going to like the way you talk. They're not going to like the way you walk. You have to shut out all that damn noise and stay centered in what's important. It doesn't matter that you're at the stoplight and some guy pulls up next to you and he has the newest version of whatever car that's out there. What does that have to do with you? It doesn't matter if your girlfriends are out and they're all dating and getting these hot guys that you want to date. What has that got to do with you? Nothing. We can't look at external things and think that we're going to be fixed internally. We have to look at external things and take in the knowledge that is given us, because there is knowledge right there in front of you to be taken in. There's all kinds of hidden clues and facts and mysteries that you can unlock to say, I don't want to be this person. I don't need to be this person. I don't need that thing. I don't want to be at this place because of these reasons, because they're not aligned with who I am and my values and what I want to do in life. I'm just not happy. People are so afraid to say that. If you're unhappy, just say it. Just say it. Scream it. I'm not happy. There's nothing wrong with that. All those people out there that you see are smiling with their beautiful, beautiful lives, quote unquote, again. A lot of them are unhappy. But there are also people out there who are extremely happy. And those are the people, if you're going to model yourself after anything, model yourself after those people, because I guarantee you they've figured out what they are, who they are, and what they stand on. If you don't stand for who you are, you will fall for who you aren't. And that is just a fact. If you don't figure out who you are, you will fall. And that is a scary thing, because all these things that we acquire, we spend all this time and energy and money on, they can all be gone like that. And what are you left with? The one thing you didn't spend any time working on at all: yourself. You are the top priority. You are the prized possession. You are the arc of self-love for yourself. You have to build your own temple of yourself. You have to accept that you are worth the time and the energy and the effort that you put into all these people and places and things. That should be all focused on you. All that other stuff is going to come towards you anyway. You don't need to work on any of that shit. You don't need to say, I have to watch TV today. If you focus on yourself, you're going to find yourself in front of that TV and feel a lot better because you did other things before that makes you feel like you earned your time in front of that television. These people that are in your life, relationships should be easy, not difficult. If you're in a relationship with someone, a friendship, a coworker, and it's hard, that's not a good sign. It should be easy, effortless, because they should be aligned with you. And if that's not the case, you have to rethink. You have to re-examine. It doesn't always mean it's them. It could be you. It could be you. And most of the time it is. We have to hold responsibility and accountability for ourselves only. What we choose to get out of life, the possessions, the people, all the things that we want out of life, we have to hold ourselves accountable for what we have and what we don't have, for what we want and what we don't want, for what we need and what we don't need, for who we love and who we don't love. It always will come back to you. No one can do anything to you that you don't allow them to do. No one can do anything to you that you don't allow them to do. It's always going to come back on you. As far as what you have out of life, it's on you. Fair or unfair it may be, you have to hold yourself accountable to what is important in your life. And if you can start with yourself being the most important thing in your life, that accountability already has a very firm foundation to start on. You don't have to worry as much about what other people are going to do for you, what you're going to get out of life. You focus on yourself. Life becomes a lot more simple, and it gives you the opportunity to grow and challenge yourselves in different areas because you don't have to worry about, am I okay? What am I supposed to do? I should do this. Wake up every day and devote most of your time and your energy to yourself. And all that other stuff will figure itself out. You will find the inner strength. I'm speaking from experience here. I'm speaking from a place of someone who had nothing, who was afraid, who allowed people to run all over him. And I've grown into somebody who has found the time and the energy to devote to himself. And now I'm finding all this extra time that I can grow with people, places, and things that I am aligned with and only aligned with. And anything that is out of alignment is not supposed to be in my life at all. That is taken away from my simplicity. That is taken away from my growth. It's taken away from me being happy. It's taken away from my purpose. Because you don't have all the time and energy in the world to spend towards things, people, and places that are not aligned with you and your core values that you stand upon. And it's not your responsibility to explain that to other people. You don't have time to explain yourself to other people. There are people that are going to be in your life that are aligned with you, and you explain it to them because they're giving you equal value. They're investing in you as you're invested in them. And that's when you can start acquiring possessions, because now you're aligned with someone who can equally bring in possessions that you're both aligned with. You both want to go to that church. You both want to get that house. You both want to invest in that car. You both want children. You want the dog or the cat. And that's when you start building an alliance with someone that you're fully connected with, because you're fully aligned. But the only way that's going to work is that you have to know who you are first. It has nothing to do with these people. You can't align with someone if you don't know how to align with yourself. And you have to be completely open and honest about what you don't need in your life. The things that we have in our lives that we hold on to so dearly, there comes a point where you can just say, I need to let that go. It's not serving me any purpose. It's taken away from who I am. It's making me unhappy. It's making me feel dissatisfied. It's making me feel misunderstood. People don't look at me the way that I think that they, quote unquote, should. It's not their responsibility to look at you the way you think you should be looked at. It's your responsibility to make sure they look at you the way that you are. Not what you used to be, not what you will be, the way that you are. People don't have time to project your future self. They don't have time to sympathize with your former self. They want value from the person you are right now standing in front of them. And if those people are valuable people, they're not looking at the house that you're standing in front of. They're not looking at that car in the driveway. They're not looking at that spouse on your arm. They're looking at you and what you do. What are your actions? What are your values? All those possessions don't mean anything. Possessions should not define you. If you want to use that word should, that's definitely one of them. Possessions should not define you. And you have to figure out what that word should means for you in that sense. And that's why I put it in here. Because it's a word that we end up using all the time anyway. It's a word that is going to be there. Should you do this? Should you do that? What should you do? I guess a better word for that is possessions do not define you. Period. They do not define you. That word should is a word that's going to leave you in fear. Again, uncertainty will cause you anxiety. It will cause you to hesitate. It will cause you to have procrastination. It will cause you to set very bad discipline patterns and routines in your life. So no, possessions should not define you. Possessions do not define you. You have one chance at this life. When they bury you, you're not going to be buried with your house. You're not going to be buried with your car. You're not going to be buried with anything other than yourself. And if you're fortunate enough, maybe if you have some type of an incident, sometimes you may be buried with somebody who you were extremely aligned with and had a wonderful life with. But for the most part, you're going to be buried or cremated alone. You. What you leave behind, people will look at you and remember you by it. But that's different than leaving behind a legacy. Something that you can't pick up and hold. It's invaluable memories. Touching people's lives that you didn't even know existed. Being there for people that you didn't even know existed. Meaning you were always good to people. You knew who you were. You stayed in your lane. You helped when you could. You backed away and walked away when you needed to. And that's all anyone can ask of any person, is that they live on their purpose. And that they show with good example of how a person who lives in their purpose actually gets to this life. That if they've figured out how to be happy, the easiest way to figure out how to do it for yourself is by observing these people and see what they did. Follow their steps, follow their blueprint. Look at what they did throughout their life. It wasn't always great. No matter how purposeful you are, you're going to have ups and downs in life. It's how you respond to them that will define you, that will ultimately be a reflection of who you are. When you don't give up and you keep going and you are a person of true integrity that stands on their values, values that are uncompromised, void of any possessions that are not meaningful to them. We all have possessions that are meaningful, but not everything in our life can be meaningful. Only the things that you're aligned with. That is living in your purpose. Possessions should not define you. Possessions do not define you. They do not. Only you define you. Your mission for today is simple. Go into your mind and think about all the things that you believe define you. Not what you have, not what you've owned, not what you want to own, not the job, not the church, not the religion, not the car, not the dog, the cat, television, the vacations, the career, the school, the clothes, the food. the movie theaters, the parks, the plane rides. Just you. And try to think about the things that truly define you to yourself. And then think about the things that you love the most in your life, that are possessions, and how you align with those things. Are they things you truly could not live without, that would take away from your peace and your joy? Positive things that would take away from your peace and your joy. The things that you know you would want to keep in your life if you had a choice. But the mission is, ask yourself who you are, what you stand on. Do you feel you are your most valuable possession? And have you put enough time and energy into that? So your mission is to think, to reflect, to look and examine who you are. Not externally, not what you have, not what you want, not what you need, but who you are inside. This is your day. You are here now. These are your moments. You own them. You are brave, bold, powerful. You do believe in yourself. You know you have more in the tank. You know the glass is half full. There is still more room for improvement. There is no end. Believe, believe, believe in yourself. You do believe in yourself. You do believe you can do whatever it takes to get the job done. You don't procrastinate. You don't embellish. You don't lie. You're true to yourself. Peace is in your mind. Peace is in your heart. Peace is in your body. It is definitely in your soul. You are greatness. You have purpose. Intentful purpose. You are here for a reason. You are ambitious. You are loving. You are kind, empathetic, compassionate. You are self-love. You have self-control, self-respect. You are joy, peace, freedom, happiness. You are connected to everything in this world and in this universe. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up.